The 2020 and 2021 school year have been a challenge. After winning the Timothy Stevenson Founders Award for the second time, our entire world came crashing down. Conference 2020 was canceled, spring break was in quarantine, and our entire school year became a virtual catastrophe. Our projects were put on pause, and our entire East team was in survival mode. We did keep team building and we explored new technologies at distance virtually. We 3D printed PPE, used CAD software and to design our facilitator's backyard garden, and even stayed healthy with the virtual cooking class we created. After a long summer, we were itching to come back to school and hit the reset button.
We set out on our 10th year as an East program in August. Our East kids had big dreams and great ideas for East projects in the fall, but we very quickly realized we were handcuffed with our projects. Our program was on lockdown. Our East PC workstations were packed up, and students were required to use their simple Chromebooks to eliminate common touch zones. Many of our project ideas were too large, scaled for a COVID hindered year. We couldn't leave our school, guests couldn't come and visit us, and many of our phone calls and emails were not returned because half of Springdale was closed for business. The East life wasn't thriving, and we didn't have a connection with the community.
After a slow first semester in January, we finally started to think outside the box. We had a team of girls working with several Healings for Horses equestrian groups. They had plans in 2020 to design and build a wheelchair ramp for kids with special needs. But during the pandemic, our clients stopped responding to our emails and shifted to working with only private students. So we pivoted the design and we built a wheelchair ramp for our own CVI special needs students here at Sonora Elementary. We've taken measurements with tape measures and even GIS images and designed the wheelchair ramp with Trimble SketchUp. We now know the amount of lumber to purchase after spring break. We hope to have the ramp finished in April of this year so that our special needs students can have access to walking the track.
Mental health has been a big issue in 2020. We have all now experienced some sort of trauma during this pandemic, which protecting ourselves mentally is very important. After watching our facilitator play an old game called Tetris, several of our students showed interest in solving puzzles. Mr. Worthy suggested that we turn it into an East project, so we did some research and learned about Dr. Richard Haler's study at the University of California. In 2009, he studied how playing Tetris eventually relieves stress, calms nerves, and naturally lowers blood pressure. While partnering up with our school counselor, we've helped to develop a sensory room for students with special needs. This is a safe place for students to calm down and reflect. We added some Tetris emulation stations to the sensory room, and the results have been mostly positive with students.
10 years ago, our program installed a new rain garden with the help of Beaver Watershed Alliance Rain Gardens and our garden of native plants and small area on our campus. It is designed to temporarily hold and soak in rainwater runoff that flows off out of our school's roof. They are great for water purification and beautiful to look at. But after a decade, the garden was in some serious need of care. So a team of fourth grade students have reached out to the Beaver Watershed Alliance yet again to bring some life back to the garden. We have removed 2 trees, cleared out debris and trash, tilled the soil, and looked forward to planting native shrubs, flowers, and other plants after spring break.
In the meantime, the same team has been working with the VegGrow software to plan our community garden for the spring. This will be our 4th year to have a garden, which we're using the technology to properly plan spacing, nutrients, and a shopping list for the garden. We've also planned out our summer work schedule for students to come to school to water crops, harvest, and distribute our vegetables to families in need. Once the last frost has passed and the weather warms up, we'll be able to hit the ground running.
Continuing the theme with mental health, we have recently partnered up with the Bella Vista Fly Tyers Association and Arkansas Trout Unlimited to start a Healing Waters chapter in Northwest Arkansas. Project Healing Waters is dedicated to the physical and emotional rehabilitation of disabled active military service personnel and disabled veterans through fly fishing. Navy veteran Doug Smyer donated to our program a massive flying tying kit, and we picked up at a garage sale while visiting Nebraska. It included books, threads, hooks, clamps, and a lot of different tools to help us get started with the fly tying process. Sadly, Mr. Smyer passed away in November due to a long fight with cancer. To honor him, we will continue this project in his name once COVID restrictions are lifted and vaccinations become more available to our veterans. We already have a list of 23 vets who are willing to help us charter our Healing Water chapter in Springdale. We look forward to this journey in outdoor education.
Our final project we would like to pitch is an exciting one. We have a team of fourth graders learning about drone surveillance and seeking 107 pilot certifications in their future. We have seen success with drone education at the Don Tyson School of Innovation in Springdale, with Sonora looks to bridge that gap with younger students. We are in an unrestricted airspace and outside of city limits, which is the perfect location for young pilots to test out basic drone mechanics. To take the project for even further, we researched about cattle and other livestock being scanned and monitored using drones from the University of Kentucky. Using a Raspberry Pi, a temperature sensor, and some basic programming, they have been able to create a healthy profile for veterinarians and farmers using drone technology. We reached out to Mr. Williams, our school's neighbor and cattle farmer, to see if we could do something similar at Sonora. We're using our two DJI Phantom 2 Vision drones and a Raspberry Pi microcontroller to get started. We hope to take the stress off of Mr. Williams' aging knees and offer him a way to monitor his livestock from his back patio in Sonora.
Thank you for watching our 2021 program pitch. We are now available on Juneau East Conference platform to answer any questions you may have. Stay safe and welcome home.